What if Garchomp was in Gen 1 OU? Now, I don't think I need any introduction for who Garchomp is. You guys already know. He is one of the most iconic competitive Pokemon of all time. And my personal favorite Pokemon of all time. Although, the tie between him, Charizard, and Tyranitar is really close. Yeah, I know in Gen 9, he's kind of falling off. At the time of filming this, he's still in OU, but he's probably going to be underused, and I'm going to literally cry. But how good would he be in Gen 1? Because he was amazing in most of the other gens. He was banned in Gen 4 because he was too good. So how would he do it in an even similar generation? A generation where paralysis is way more common. Well, spoiler alert, he would be an underuse. So, where to begin? I guess for starters, we should go over that HP stat and that speed stat. Because for a pseudo-legendary, or just for a fast sweeper in general, his HP is surprisingly pretty high. I guess it kind of makes sense since he's literally a pseudo-legend, but yeah, I just think it's really insane. And it means that he is able to take a lot of hits pretty easily. And not to mention with that crit, or with the crit rate he gets from that high speed, that works even better for him. And 130 attack, same as Rhydon. So the Earthquakes are going to do exactly the same. Although one of them's going to crit way more often. I don't think it really matters whether his special is 80 or 85. Obviously it'd be slightly better than 85. For the most part, it's just sort of there. I was sort of considering maybe giving him some special coverage. And he does have that. But I decided it's probably not the most optimal thing to use. But even then, just having 80 as your potential lowest stat is amazing. That's look at Tauros, for example. Tauros is the best Pokemon in the game, and its special is 70. And 95 defense, I'm assuming is higher than Tauros. Oh wait, this is... Oh no, it's the exact same, alright. He's just a little bit slower, but that's it. But you can work with that. You can very easily work with that. So, yeah, obviously, his stats are amazing. But I probably didn't need to tell you about that. As for move pool, he has a lot of the really good stuff that you would want. Body Slam, Double Edge. To no one's surprise, he has Earthquake. He has Fire Blast, Flamethrower, Rest, Rock Slide, Substitute if you want that for some reason. Surf, in case you just want to kill Rhydon with I don't know, Surf instead of Earthquake for some reason. And Sword Stance. I have covered a lot of Sword Stance users. On this series of mine. And I think this is probably the best one by far. The only one that I think might come close would be Landorus. But even then, Landorus isn't as fast as Garchomp. So, Garchomp would still be a much more effective user of the move. And that's another thing, which is how fast Garchomp is. This guy, he probably just becomes the best late game cleaner, just ever. Probably not better than I don't know if he's better than Tauros or not. Okay, maybe not better than Tauros. Might be going a little too far. Although you can definitely make an argument about it. It also definitely depends on what Pokemon there are still left. But he's definitely a really good contender for it. Does he have Dragon Stab? No. Does he have Dragon moves? He has Dragon Rage. Because that's all there is. But I don't think it's a big deal. Because obviously he has Hyper Beam. And here's the reality of the situation. Let's look at Hyper Beam and Outrage is side by side. One of them is 120 base power and the other one's 150. But both Dragon and Hyper Beam are basically the exact same when it comes to offensively. Because the only thing Dragon is super effective against is Dragon. But obviously, for gens 4 and 5, you weren't just using Dragon moves on other Dragon types. You were using it on just literally everything. Just killing everything from neutral. It's for Steel, which even then, if you got Sword Stance or Dragon Dance up, Steels are not serving the too many outrages. So, in the grand scheme of things, 120 base power with stab and 150 base power, you're hitting both of them neutrally, so is there really a difference? I honestly don't think there is. It's just you're trading the drawback of being locked into a move for 2 to 3 turns and getting confused with 90% accuracy. So, yeah. He might not have Dragon Stab, but he might as well still have Dragon Stab. Which is funny. Like, no denying that. So, other than that, like, obviously he gets Earthquake and Sword Stance. And as for the last move, you could maybe use Body Slam, but I think it's generally not worth it. I think with just how strong you are, you want to go with high base power moves. Potentially Double Edge if you don't want to, like, worry about, having a recharge, but you're probably fine. So I did genuinely consider Fire Blast. I was like, okay, what if we make this like its coverage option to get some of the ice types? But I ultimately decided against it, and decided that his best move would be Rock Slide. And the reasoning is because, like, well, for one, a lot of the ice types in Gen 1 are also part water. Dewgong, Lapras, and especially Cloyster. Though to be honest, with Cloyster, you're probably just dead no matter what. I don't think you have a way to like really survive anything he throws at you. Though if you have a Rock Slide up, and especially with Sword Stance, it will do a lot of damage. And with Sword Stance boosted, I don't think you kill it, but you do a lot of damage, so hopefully it's already chipped. And there's also, like, Jinx you hit strong with it, and with Jinx's, high special, it's much better to hit it on the physical side with Rock Slide rather than with Fire Blast. And also, like, it just gives you more options in general, like being able to Zapdos super effectively, Moltres if, like, they occasionally use it, Dragonite. Like, it's not common, but generally there's just more use for Rock Slide. Not to mention just Rock Slide and Earthquake, they're like poor man's Bulk Beam coverage, but I would still argue poor man's Bulk Beam coverage is still pretty good. So, what issues are there? Well, obviously the big one, quadruple weakness to ice. For those who don't know, like, you might not know it's about Gen 1, but Blizzard is pretty common. Like, you might see it, like, maybe, like, once, twice, maybe even, like, 4 billion times while playing Gen 1. And even just a regular Ice Beam is just a huge threat to Garchomp. So very similar to Landorus. But I think unlike Landorus, I think Garchomp has a lower special. So, yeah, that could be a problem. However, like, a lot of the Pokemon that have ice coverage, like Chansey and Jinx, you can outspeed. With a crit, you kill them. And if you manage to get Sword Stance up, you're probably good. But some Pokemon like Tauros or Starmie, who are faster than you, and will have to use Blizzard, can and will be a huge problem that you have to take account for. But, let's go into the replays now, shall we? I have a lot. Like, a lot. This is gonna take a while. Starting with Garchomp versus Tauros, round 1. I just wanted to show, like, their, like, standard moves first. Obviously, a crit, just like 3/4 to, Tauros. Which, as you can imagine, is pretty handy. But it really does suck that Tauros is faster, though. That does tend to, like, create some issues. But here we have another one. And I believe this one I was trying to show, like, how good this with a Sword Stance. And, yeah, a critical hit from a Hyper Beam, kills you. Which, I don't think anyone's really surprised by that. Because, like, even, like, another Tauros facing a Tauros, like, Hyper Beam still does a lot of damage. And they have, like, equal defense. So, like, this is not a one-sided matchup at all. Both of them can easily harm the other. And if either one of them gets a critical hit, they, like, they just die. And it's equally likely that, or not equally likely, I guess Tauros has a better chance. But Tauros also has the advantage of having, Body Slam. So luckily, like, he never got crit there. However, you are gonna have lots of situations where Body Slam paralyzes Garchomp. And if that happens, you just sort of lose. Or maybe you won't. Because, let's be honest, if this match ever happens, you're just gonna spam Blizzard. And it, like, does a lot to you. It doesn't kill you. But it doesn't matter. Because they're faster, and you can't one-shot it. Even a crit at, like, full health, I don't think kills Tauros. So yeah, that could be an issue. And here we have Snorlax versus Garchomp. Obviously, without like Reflect, Earthquake does a decent amount of damage. Like you could, beat Reflect by like Sword Stance, but odds are they're using Amnesia Lax. So yeah, Ice Beam just kills you. It's very bad. And like you do much better against the other sets. Obviously, if you were to get paralyzed, the body slam, that's really annoying. But you can handle it pretty easily. Hyper Beam does like almost half to you, but you can just overpower Snorlax, and it's fine. So it just depends on the matchup as usual. But against like Amnesia Lax, unlike with a lot of other Sword Stance users on this show, like Ursaluna, Snorlax has a lot more opportunities to like damage you, and with Ice Beam you just lose. And speaking of Ice Beam, yeah, this also is pretty awkward. It's already annoying enough with Reflect, but the vast majority of Chanseys will use Ice Beam. If they don't have Ice Beam and just fight with like Seismic Toss, or like a variant that uses Sting, you're obviously good. But Ice Beam just kills you. Like I know that was a crit, but I'm assuming it probably doesn't matter because Chansey is pretty high special. So yeah, like obviously you can just two-shot it, so it's definitely something you want to revenge kill. And if you revenge kill Chansey, you do significantly better. And a crit also kills it. And but like that's like one of the like good things, like it's like about Chansey and Alakazam. They're just really physically frail, so even with their high specials, you can like easily threaten them, like as you saw there. Like there's not really much they can really do if like you get a crit. And if like you do a lot of damage to them, they kind of have no choice but to like heal, because even if like they kill your Garchomp, if they don't heal, something else can easily revenge kill them. Assuming you don't crit in the first place, which you very well might. And then Executor, as annoying as ever, everything with facing Executor, FOHP is like it hates doing it. But in this replay, Garchomp got pretty lucky, and he got some like pretty good damage in. Executor would probably explode around this time, or get revenge killed. But other than that, yeah, Executor is a pretty bad matchup. Even with a single Sword Stance, I'm pretty sure you don't like one-shot at full health. But again, like with a lot of these videos, it's kind of weird treating Executor, because like nothing really wants to show fight against Executor at full HP. And like these replays are just really just showing like one-on-ones in a vacuum. But with Garchomp, it's not the worst matchup in the world. Like Garchomp can definitely threaten it. Just like how Garchomp can easily threaten Gengar. I had a few replays where Gengar actually did get Hypnosis off. And one of them, it was actually funny because 3 times in a row, he hit Hypnosis and Garchomp woke up instantly. But I decided not to show them because I just generally don't see anyone really risking Hypnosis on Garchomp. For this reason you see right here. If that Hypnosis misses, you just die. Garchomp just uses Earthquake and you just die instantly. So I don't know anyone who would risk that unless they're like really desperate. And against Jinx, Hyper Beam and Rock Slide do the same amount of damage, and Blizzard always kills you. Which I don't think really surprises anybody. To be honest, after I saw Jinx with a Hyper Beam from Arceus, there is like literally nothing that surprises me anymore. Like nothing at all. I now believe that Jinx is a god that can like handle any blow, just like One Punch Man. Or seriously, or not. I was gonna make a bad like One Punch Man joke, but no. Yeah, let's go to the next one and pretend like Jinx does not have a good matchup against Garchomp, because that makes me cringe. You see, this is significantly less cringe. Garchomp just easily takes on Rhydon. And unlike other ground or rock types I've like done on this series, like let's say Great Tusk or Garganadel, there is easily a reason to use Garchomp over Rhydon. Does it take Dropex as well? Not so much, but it handles them pretty well. But you're much faster than Rhydon, better crit rate, and you have Sword Stance. And you have the exact same attack. So like Garchomp now does bulky as Rhydon, I would say, because the normal resistance really is like, you know, just that impactful in Gen 1. But it's still really good, and like it's just really. What reason aren't you using Garchomp? Like, for real. Like, it sure has a lot of issues, but like this thing can you can easily win a lot of games with it. And speaking of easily winning a lot of games, Swelbro, it can't paralyze Garchomp, and it can't just like scare it away with Surf. So let's go. Swelbro has a really bad matchup. You gotta love to see it. It's not nice if someone sits up on you, isn't it, Swelbro? That's so satisfying. And then Starmie. This one is weird. Either Starmie potentially outstalls you with Recover, or there's a certain move it might have. You might know it. It's called Blizzard, which it can easily use just to kill you. But if it doesn't have Blizzard, it can go either way, I would say, for the most part. If you get a crit, you probably kill it. But it's also probably the same, like, for you. Although you definitely take crits a lot better. And it finally needs to refresh, but it doesn't matter. But if it uses, you know, Blizzard, you just die. Like, there's not much you can really do. And to be honest, I think with Garchomp in the meta, I think how that would change is that Starmie now needs to have Blizzard as a mandatory. So it already has, like, you know, Thunder Wave and Recover as, like, you need to have these if you want to be taken at least any bit seriously in, like, the Gen 1 metagame. But now with Garchomp around, I feel like Blizzard needs to become a necessity as well. And for a lot of Pokemon, like, Ice coverage might just become a necessity. But who knows? We got one last replay, and that's against Zapdos. Which, like I said before, Garchomp can, like, it doesn't take Drill Picks as well, but, like, it's pretty gosh darn good. Like, compared to, like, Great Tusk taking, like, I think, like, more than, like, a third. Like, you do amazing. You easily take it up. And not only that, since Zapdos can, like, immediately threaten you without, like, a crit, Zapdos is probably one of the few Pokemon where you can just very easily get a Sword Stance set up, and you can actually, like, you know, get ready to, like, you know, do a sweep, which is great. So let's go on to the Kanto viability, see where I put everything. I think one of these I might change. Yeah, I think I'll change Chansey. That could go either way, because yeah, Ice Beam kills you, but also, like, yeah, they don't have Ice Beam. They're kind of boned. Not to mention, like, if you crit, you kind of kill them either way. So yeah, for a Pokemon that was so dominant in, like, Gen 4, and for a Pokemon that was so, like, you know, just, like, amazing throughout most of its competitive history, I'm sure a lot of you expected a much better, like, viability ranking. Although I'd argue this one isn't really that bad. Especially since everything here, with the Sword Stance, it can just threaten. Because just like in Gen 4, if it gets a Sword Stance, it can, at the very least, two-shot everything in the game, if not one-shot it. So, why isn't Garchomp, like, as overpowered here? Because I don't think it's because it doesn't have Outrage or any Dragon moves. Because I generally don't see a difference between, like, using strong normal moves or Dragon. I think the reason is because something that I don't think a lot of people realize with modern Pokemon, or even, like, as early as Gen 4, is that items can go a really long way into making a Pokemon broken. And part of what made Garchomp broken and have truly no counters was that he had items like Yache Berry to handle Ice-type moves, or Choice Scarf so that he outsped everything. He doesn't have those luxuries in Gen 1. Meaning that a lot of those issues he has to deal with. So obviously there's Blizzards everywhere, he can't really do much against those. And with Pokemon that are faster, like Starmie or Tauros, it just means that there's more opportunities to revenge kill Garchomp. And my Garchomp has less opportunities to just go in and auto-win against everything. But don't get me wrong, Garchomp is still an amazing Pokemon. I would not be surprised if he ended up being better than Rhydon. Though I can still see Rhydon just being used more just because he just has you know, walls like the electric types a lot better. Especially for Zapdos' case. But also, like, like, obviously the normal resistance is also, again, pretty good. But with how tanky Garchomp is, I can see, like, him just replacing Rhydon too. But what do you think? Would Garchomp be better or worse than I've said? Do you have any other suggestions? I think I already have the 2 ones for the next 2 days, because I've been seeing a lot of requests for both Hisuian Zoroark and Meloetta. So those are probably going to be my next 2 videos. But just keep suggesting stuff, because, like, yes, my list is pretty big right now, but I'm also, like, more willing to try to do at least 2 videos per day. It just depends. But I still enjoy making these, and I'm really happy that you guys enjoyed them too. And yeah, this is pretty interesting. Was this my first pseudo-legendary? I'm actually not sure if this is my first pseudo-legendary or not. I don't know. But, like, I'll definitely do more. I'll be honest. I'll probably handle, like, every single pseudo-legendary, like, at some point. But we'll have to see. Thank you for watching. This is Groundback, and I look forward to hearing from you.